On September 13, 2021, a specific line of dialogue redefined the very nature of an animated multiverse. It confirmed a boundary, not between universes, but between fiction and a horrifying, unspoken truth. For years, Rick and Morty presented itself as an anarchic, endlessly inventive cartoon where anything was possible across infinite realities. The surface truth, readily consumed by millions of viewers, was that Rick Sanchez was simply the smartest being in any given universe, a cynical god casually navigating a boundless cosmos. This chaotic brilliance formed the show's core appeal, a mad scientist and his grandson on adventures unbound by logic or consequence, where death was temporary and entire civilizations could be destroyed for a punchline. This was the widely accepted narrative, a high-concept comedy about cosmic nihilism wrapped in increasingly complex animation. Audiences embraced the endless possibilities, the rapid-fire jokes, and the profound, often bleak, philosophical undercurrents, believing they were watching a show that reveled in its own infinite freedom. Then came the crack, not in a planet, but in perception itself. During the 5th season finale, Rick Morai Jack, the precise, clinical explanation of the Central Finite Curve was delivered. This was not a theoretical concept. It was a physical, constructed barrier built by the Ricks, a contained cluster of realities where they were unequivocally the smartest beings. Every universe where an alternate Rick was not the smartest man in the cosmos was sealed off, walled away, made permanently inaccessible. This detail, revealed with stark clarity, meant that infinite possibilities fans cherished were, in fact, terrifyingly finite. The seemingly boundless freedom was an illusion, a curated cage. It wasn't the spontaneous discovery of new worlds, but a rigid, deliberate architecture of narrative control. The implications of this revelation sat for a long, unsettling moment. What this crack revealed was not just a plot twist, but an abyss, the horrifying possibility that the Central Finite Curve was more than just an in-universe prison for Ricks. The show had consistently, aggressively, and often humorously broken the fourth wall. It commented on its own production, its fan base, its very existence as a serialized narrative. Characters would address the audience directly, acknowledge season arcs, and even lament the pressure of delivering satisfying conclusions. Viewed through the lens of the Central Finite Curve, these self-referential gags ceased to be clever meta-humor. They became chilling admissions. The barrier wasn't just a plot device to explain Rick's superiority. It was a deliberate statement about the nature of stories themselves, about the limitations imposed by creators, and perhaps about the very narrative we, the audience, were trapped within. The show, in revealing its own curated reality, hinted at the curation of all reality. The smooth animation and vibrant colors suddenly felt like the polished surface of a carefully constructed trap. The very existence of the Central Finite Curve, explained by a character who often spoke directly to the viewers, began to feel like a confession, a deliberate unveiling of the mechanisms of narrative control that extended far beyond the confines of a television screen. The laughter that accompanied these meta-jokes felt hollow, replaced by a cold dread about who was truly orchestrating the finite curve of our perception. The precise coordinates, the specific architecture of exclusion, the deliberate choice to wall off realities deemed unacceptable. It wasn't just world building. It was a blueprint. The deliberate choice to reveal such a fundamental constraint on its own fictional universe, while simultaneously winking at its audience about being a fictional universe, suggested a terrifying self-awareness. The writers weren't just creating a story, they were telling a story about the act of storytelling as imprisonment. The show itself became a grand, unsettling performance about its own inescapable narrative loop, one that began with a laugh, then a chuckle, then a slow, creeping realization. The implications spiraled. What if the illusion of infinite choice was the true horror? What if our own perceived boundless reality was merely a carefully maintained central finite curve, designed by an unknown, omnipotent hand, ensuring we remain the smartest in our designated narratives? The vibrant colors on screen shifted, taking on a colder, more clinical sheen, as if the entire animated world was an intricate, inescapable mathematical construct, its purpose chillingly precise. The central finite curve remains an open wound in the Rick and Morty narrative. What does that engineered boundary truly reveal about the nature of a created universe, or perhaps our own? The cost is our unquestioning belief in true narrative freedom and the unsettling realization that some boundaries are not meant to be crossed. If this kept you awake, you already know what to do.